Hello and welcome! Silrace here with Hearthstone, because Hearthstone is returning to the channel, so I'm opening some packs of the Grand Tournament here and talking about what I plan to do and what else is going on with my Hearthstone and all that stuff. So, Hearthstone is returning to the channel, finally indeed. I had planned to return it already a little while ago, but then I heard that the Grand Tournament is actually releasing, so I might as well wait for that. And right now, obviously, I have been a little bit busy then, so I haven't, gotten to it right after the release of the Grand Tournament. So I'm now opening packs for the Grand Tournament here on the background, seeing what I can get. Can I get something nice and nifty, and so forth. As for what content of Hearthstone are returning to my channel, well, I am not gonna start with the theme decks, because I don't really have the current cards for really doing a legendary, fantastic. First legendary. This minion takes it instead. That is kind of interesting. I'm not sure it is actually worth it, but it's interesting anyway. So I'm not sure I wanna start with the various theme decks, even though those are what I typically love to do the most. Because I need to still, get some cards. I need to see if I wanna craft some cards for various theme decks, if I need to craft some cards. But frankly, there are a lot more cards now, so this is definitely is a way to do more theme decks, more thematical decks, especially second legendary. Especially since the Inspire is now a mechanic, you can try to do entire Inspire decks for all the classes and all sorts of other things. So that is kind of interesting way to do that stuff. But firstly, I am gonna let all that theme deck stuff sit on its wayside, and I am gonna start doing a whatchamacallit. I'm gonna do an entirely different playlist, and I'm gonna start actually playing the game firstly, because I need to get in the groove of how this game functions again, and I have no idea of all the cards either. Like, granted, I have taken a look at many of the cards before I even decided to buy into the Grand Tournament. So there is that. But I'm still not familiar with all the cards, and I need to start getting familiar with all the cards, of what kind of decks people play now, all sorts of other things. Another one of those. Interesting. So, yeah. But I have figured out a different way to go about it, actually. Because previously, when I played Hearthstone, basically all the decks I played were some kind of a tempo or mid-range deck. Because that's basically the style I like the most when it comes to card games. I'm not that big of a fan of various control decks. Well, it is always fun to be able to have board control and try to control the pacing of the game and all sorts of other things. I am not a big fan of the slow play style and so forth. I prefer to ramp up and try and do things either kind of early already in the game, or kind of in the middleish part of the game. It's like against aggro decks to survive the very early game and then stabilize and win, or against the control decks beat them down before they get rolling, essentially. I like this kind of playstyle more. Most of the tempo and mid-range decks require a little bit more of certain bit of a different thought, because many times you are faced in, these situations where you have multiple choices of play and you still have to try to make the right plays out of those. Dreadsteed, that is very interesting. Anyway, so I have decided to change my playstyle completely for a while at least. I'm gonna make a whole bunch of aggro decks. It's like I have barely played aggro when it comes to Hearthstone. So I haven't, like, I have, well, wiggled around and tried a few aggro decks back in the day, way early in the game. That was way before Gnomes vs Goblins as well. And I haven't played too much for the whole summer. I played a few games here and there, some arena, whatnot, but overall have not played much at all. So I'm thinking I'm gonna change my playstyle completely and do some brand new stuff, right? That seems fun, and that seems a fun way to get back into the game, but also to learn a completely different playstyle. And what I have seen is that aggro decks have a little bit fallen out of favor as well now because of all the cards which have kind of diminished the uses of aggro, and well, there have been nerfs to some aggro cards over time anyway, like Leroy Jenkins being the best possible example, I guess, because he was increased in mana cost, which kind of makes him no longer be that useful for aggro, in all honesty. No, not that all that useful for aggro. So I'm gonna go aggro. And what kind of aggro? I have not decided yet what kind of aggro. I am gonna try a whole lot of different aggro stuff. I'm gonna try to make an aggro deck for every single class, if nothing else, which actually somehow at least works. I am already trying to imagine how the heck am I gonna do an aggro priest deck which works. That is an interesting card, mulch. Anyway. I have some weirdo ideas, but I'm obviously gonna start with some of the more aggro friendly classes to get in the groove of things. I'm not gonna start with druid aggro right away because that might not at all work. Might not work at all. So yeah. Interesting, Master Jouster. I am not so sure of this joust mechanic either. It's something I have to play around with a little bit to figure if it's something I might want to include eventually in my later to come decks. Is it actually a mechanic which I want to try to use in a, let's say, a control deck where most of the minions are a higher cost? It might be, but is it still worth it comparing to simply a good minion? That is very interesting minion. Very interesting minion. Unfortunately, those kind of cards are not quite so good for aggro, and frankly, there are ways to deal with aggro these days. There are ways to deal with it. There are actually more ways to deal with it, I guess. And the Grand Tournament didn't seem to have all that many. If I am all out honest with you, the Grand Tournament didn't seem to have all that many very awesome cards. So the Murloc with the Inspire, Murloc Knight is kind of one of those, which is really good. Oh, another legendary. Ice Dogbane. Oh, hey, that is interesting. Interesting. So overall, 3 legendaries. Unless I've missed one, I think it's 3 only so far. Well, I'm okay with that. I'm not trying to do anything fancy with these cards anyway. Try to, do the whole spin 'em a thing or the order I am opening them. I am whatever. That stuff shouldn't matter anyways. And if it does, if someone has figured out a way that it matters, then I have no idea about it, and I don't really honestly care all that much. I will eventually craft the cards I need anyway, but I am definitely gonna try to do a whole bunch of aggro decks, like I said, and I am probably going to start with things like rogue aggro, possibly warrior and mage aggro as well. On top of that, and well, Warlock Zoo still exists, so that is kind of the evident aggro. It's kind of the pinnacle aggro deck, which is kind of why I don't want to start with it. Actually, I might want to start with the other classes, and out of all the classes in the game, the most familiar I am with Rogue and Mage. It's like the fourth one, Chillmore. That is kind of nifty. So like I said, Mage and Rogue are the ones I'm most familiar with. The rest I am not quite so familiar with, and I never actually played Zoo. Like, yeah, I tried it very, very briefly when it was the older age, and I was like, okay, I'll make a quick Zoo deck, and I was played a couple games with it, but I never like really practiced Zoo either. So this will be a very, very good experiment for me to try out all the aggro I want, and also maybe show some people another way of playstyle if everybody and anybody happens to be interested in aggro. And also, if you are watching this and you come across me on the battlefields of Hearthstone, you can probably expect aggro, unless it's Arena I am playing. So yeah. Anyway, I'm opening the last pack here. Thank you very, very much for watching and listening, I guess. And yeah, see you folks more with more Hearthstone. That made no sense, but we will go for it. Yeah, go with it. Yeah, anyway, thank you very, very much for watching.